Okay, welcome everybody to today's Making Money Personal podcast. I'm Liz, and I'm excited to have Kevin and Terry here.
Hello.
We're running on all cylinders. We got all hosts with us today. How you guys doing?
Doing great. I just wanted to make sure that my phone was not on.
Very good, very good.
We're good. We're
Yeah,
good.
I'm good. I already turned my phone off, so.
Same.
It's Friday.
Terry's the only one that missed that memo.
Ooh.
Anyway, okay, so this particular episode, what we want to cover today is we want to just talk about the affordability challenges that many of us are facing in today's world, right? I don't know about you guys, but I feel it. You probably do too, right?
Absolutely. I do something every week where I watch is not the right word, but I lead a bunch of teenagers and I'll get snacks for them. And every time I come out of the grocery store with just a couple snacks, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to switch grocery stores. So.
Yes. Or not. Well, in my case, if I take my two daughters to the grocery store, it's going to be an extra $200.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure. Right.
Yep.
So there is also
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I find food in particular, but I find that I have college-age daughter who their taste in food is
Expensive.
Yeah, it's eclectic
I
for
know,
sure.
right? You're like, I don't think so. Not today, dear.
I've never even heard of this. Designer groceries.
Yeah, I mean, so that's one of the biggest things that I think of immediately is the cost of food, right? I mean, that's
100%.
where most of us have probably seen it right off the bat. I mean, affordability problems have kind of dominated the American life and even global life today, right? I just have a couple stats here to just bring up about what people have been facing. Like the consumer price index has rose 2.7% year over year by December 2025, and food and shelter continue to be the things that drive that increase. Another stat here is that 70% of Americans say the cost of living in their area is not very affordable or not affordable at all. So again, that goes back to like lifestyle, like living. So yeah, rent, the price of housing, like all these areas, we just feel the weight of this affordability burden. So I guess.
And it's your four walls, right? I mean, it's not, there's nothing luxurious about
right.
what you're seeing in your monthly budget. It's just the necessities of life between shelter and food, you know?
Yep. Utilities. I see a lot of stories online of people talking
Yeah.
about how their utilities have gone up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of jarring when you're trying to budget, right? If you're fiscally attuned, right? You're trying to budget and then you realize the next month comes around and you're like, wow, that is an extra $200 I had no intention of having to spend. And it, like you said, Terry, it wasn't like you overspent on dining out or fancy clothes or anything like that. It's just living.
Mm-hmm.
So I can imagine that it puts people in a very stressful and uncomfortable position. So
For sure.
we're here to help, discuss some of the challenges that you might be facing and we're facing as well, but also to provide insight as to how to correct it or to adjust accordingly to fix it. Because there are ways to work through this, right? So, yeah, I mean, what does it mean for people who are like trying to stay financially stable or become financially stable? Like, what does adjusting for the affordability challenges look like, you think?
Again, I have some college-age kids who are facing this, so I've noticed right away that it creates some obvious difficulties, particularly around housing. My oldest is graduating college this year, and he's been renting an apartment with 3 other people. And that's okay. It worked out that it was reasonable per person, but getting out of school and facing not necessarily wanting to come home and live at home again, what is the alternative? So I've noticed that particularly for young people who are at that place trying to figure out what they're going to do if they want to be on their own or be self-sustaining, that it definitely creates some obvious difficulties to try to not only have a job that's going to pay them enough to be able to have the 4 walls, the shelter, but then also the food. And then because of the way that we are as human beings, just building in some of those other things, like our freedoms and entertainments that are important just for our overall well-being and our overall, mental health.
Right. 100%. I can definitely relate to what you just said, Kev. We have 2 daughters, and I would think that both of them are home because they love their parents. I don't think that is the case, though. I mean,
Sure, it's a part of it.
it could be part of it, but here's the deal. I feel like that with my two daughters is that one of them is ready to launch. She's been out of school for a while. She moved back and paid off her student loans. That was her goal. So she's done that. My second daughter just graduated in December, so she's going to move back, follow like her big sister plan, and then, stay with us for a couple of years and try to, just eliminate the student loans as well. So there is that. But my oldest daughter, her student loans have been paid off now for over a year and a half, and she's just trying to stack up cash to afford her own place. And I mean, and it's like she doesn't know exactly what she wants to do in terms of like, if what she wants to buy, but everything is so expensive. Like we're talking like 1,000 square foot condo, it's just like, and it's $250,000.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
And we have these conversations at our house a lot, just the affordability of housing. And I do think that it's not just in like the major city areas. Like it's not just New England or California. I think a lot of people, there are probably some pockets of the U.S. that aren't getting hit as hard, but it's a lot to take on.
Yeah, I think the dynamic we live that yes, you're going to have those places. Certainly when the work from home really blew up, that people who are living in expensive cities, who are being paid their wage in that city to be able to move to a place where the cost of living was less, they did okay. But I think when places where you have, here in New Hampshire, we're fortunate that we don't have a lot of tax like they do in some other places, like sales tax on vehicle purchases or just a state income tax, that we obviously are feeling that price increase, the inflation increase. So if you go to one of those major cities, particularly in California especially, I think is where I hear about it a lot, you have that increase plus all the normal taxes.
Right.
And even in certain cities like New York and stuff, they're trying to find ways to tax people even more.
Right.
So I don't know. And particularly with stuff like childcare, it almost seems that you would need multiple incomes just to reach what might have been different 5 years ago even.
Right.
And my wife does in-home daycare, at least for now. And sometimes it seems that the cost of daycare, not for her, but for other people, is that it seems like they're working just to pay for daycare.
Right.
And so some people have decided just to stay home and take care of their children themselves instead of trying to go to a career and go to a job that they're away from their kids, number one, and then number two, their job is just paying for daycare. So it's,
Yeah, you have to weigh that out for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely challenging for many people, and I think it's creating a kind of like a gridlock. I mean, Terry, I don't know how your daughter's feeling, but I'm sure she's probably spending a lot of time thinking and strategizing and trying to figure out, the best route that she can take to save the money for her house or for her condo, rather.
Right.
And so I think that, like, it's easy to say budget, right? But I think it might help to, I don't know, just pay close attention to your money. You got the money coming in, be creative, try to find ways to maybe pull in a little more. I mean, I'm not really sure exactly how you best make those moves, but I just feel like there's got to be something, right?
Well, the increase in shelter, let's just start with the basic needs, right? The increase that we're feeling, it requires more of their resources just for those basic things that it can feel as if you can't get ahead at all or really save unless you're doing something creative, like you take the rent or cost, the shelter component out of it, to be able to kind of actually put money away. Otherwise, at the end of the day, you might be going to work just to provide the basic needs, which I suppose is good. But if you're trying to build up something that when you need that new car or you need that other thing, if you're not able to do that because all of your resources are taken up with just your shelter and your food, then that can seem probably like probably have a weigh on you. I would assume. I know it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, going back to what you had said, Lizzie, I think when we first introduced the segment is what might some alternatives be to the situation? And then Kevin, you mentioned that your son has 3 roommates.
Mm-hmm.
So is he one of 3, or are there
There's 4 altogether.
4 altogether? So
Oh, wow.
that's like legitimate. That's an option, right?
Yeah.
And my daughter doesn't want to do that. So it's like, okay, so if you want to, she's looking right now at a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, a condo. Again, it's fairly small, but if she doesn't want to get a roommate to share that expense, I mean, I don't know what it would be. I'm not a mortgage lending officer, so I'm not going to delve too much into that whole area. But I will say that if you had a $2,000 mortgage, and you wanted to have a roommate to split that, or to help you pay for your mortgage, I mean, that's doable, right?
Yeah.
Now you're at $1,000 rent a month. I feel like that's doable.
Yeah.
Of course, depending on your income, but so it's options. It's stuff like that. I do feel like that we want, as a society, my theory is this: whatever you grew up with, you want right away, right? Like that becomes your standard. You that's your expectation, that's your baseline. And I feel like that a lot of these young kids want that baseline right as soon as they graduate from college. It's like, this is, I lived in a colonial, I want a colonial, whatever, right? And you will get there. I mean, I'm confident that you'll get there if you take the right steps, but it will take some time, I guess, is what I'm saying too.
And it's okay if it takes some time, right?
100%.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey.
Right.
Like, just enjoy it. Like, don't, overthink it or overstress about it.
Yeah.
That's a great point, because one of the other things I marked down here is that with marketing, it's obviously designed to be clever, because depending on what you're marketing, if it's I realize
Don't go hating on the
I know,
marketing,
like,
Kevin.
literally,
Don't
you're
go-
in here with 4 people for marketing, Kevin.
I realize I'm surrounded by the marketing team. That you guys know that marketing is designed for, if it's a product or service, designed to get somebody to do that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be good at your job if no one wanted your product.
Right.
So I've noticed with commercials and stuff, right? If they're advertising, like even a Swiffer broom, the place that people live in, that they're shooting this commercial in, is in this palatial, beautiful place, and I feel like media and marketing, it creates this idyllic scenario where, geesh, and I think for young people and older people, it gives you this idea that this is what the standard is, this is what the baseline is,
Right.
and you see all these commercials and everything's, even the stuff like with TurboTax nowadays, and the way that they portray people's lifestyles is like easy breezy, I just ride my bike all day, and I just they show you those balances in their accounts, and it's a lot of money, and I look at that, I'm like, I am in the wrong job. So I think that contributes to people's mental picture or state as far as what is ideal, or may create some of that. Well, I should be here because this is what I see all day, versus what is their reality.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So.
No, we just had not to go super off track, but we had a conversation yesterday about a new email header, and I was like, happy faces, like, it's what
It's
you
gotta
want,
be bright,
right? It has
cheery.
to be, life can be dull and boring and sometimes overwhelming. So it's like when you open up your email, you want to see a happy face, right? It's like, I gotta get there, So yes.
Yeah.
You're
that's a good
not
point.
wrong.
So it sounds like there's a lot going back to like expectation, right? And I know, like, from my personal experience, there's a lot of, like, Phil and I we're not in a house yet, right? And we've been saving for a house, so we're renting right now, saving for a house, and we get a lot of pressure from friends who are like, why haven't you bought yet? Why haven't you bought yet? And some of the challenge is like, well, it's easy enough, like, they've moved ahead with it. They've gone forward, we want to be in a certain place before we actually make that move. We want it to be right for us. And I remember thinking, and going back to your point, Terry, which is I think is actually a really good point, is we tend to see what we want. We see what like our parents have or our family has, and we think that we're up for that, like it should be available for us right away. But
Right.
I'm 35 now.
Are you?
I'm like, how old am I?
No, I'm not sure.
When I think back, I'm like, my parents didn't actually buy their first home until they were in their 40s.
Right.
So I was just like, oh, that's interesting. You know, it made me kind of like think a little deeper about that expectation thing, right? Like
Great point.
you do what's right for you, and you enjoy the journey. You build up to it, right? Don't let the expectation of the pressure, the external pressure, push you into something that's not right for you at the moment.
Right.
So I kind of like rely on that. I go back to that a lot
Yeah.
when it comes to the housing stuff.
Right. And I will say this, as a homeowner, it's not all like butterflies and
Not all happy faces.
It's not all happy faces. It's not. I mean,
Wait,
if
what? That's
you're-
what the marketing told me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
see?
what our mortgage email just said. No, there's a lot of stress that comes with owning a home. I mean, you're responsible for everything that goes on inside and outside, and the taxes. You know, New Hampshire in particular and Massachusetts, where this is not a low property tax region. Let me just say that.
No.
And I get stressed about that all the time. Don't get me started. My nephew was like, "Get off your soapbox, will you?" So, I mean, that's something for young people to think about. And, you know, again, going back, just enjoy your journey. Enjoy where you are right now. Enjoy that you don't have a lot of stress when it comes to home ownership, because there will come a time when it's a lot to carry.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, and that's true because there are some folks that I've talked to at the branch that their rent is more than my mortgage.
Mm,
And I just find that to be just crazy.
yeah.
Now, again, the home I live in, I purchased it a while ago when things were different. The economy was different, but it still is a stark and harsh reality that in that particular case, thinking about other things. Now, we're just talking about basic needs, right? And we were joking about our bougie daughters who have to buy designer groceries. But on that point, right? If we're talking about housing and options you may have to consider, like a roommate, then when you don't want one. My son, to his credit, I got him into coffee, and he enjoyed good coffee at home. But when he went and lived on his own, he's choosing to buy coffee that I would never drink because it would just churn my stomach. But he does it because he knows that he can't afford the coffee that he would probably prefer to drink. And I think those are some of the other decisions that you have to make, right? That obviously we all have to eat, but what kind of stuff are you wanting versus the expectation of what you're eating and wanting to eat versus what is reality in order to just sustain yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I do feel like that we've kind of kicked the bucket on the housing thing. So let's talk a little bit more about like more discretionary spending and even going back to the food part of it, right? Like just so you know, like I'm a kind of a brand loyal person. Like I like.
Here we go.
I know. I like the same thing almost every day for lunch, and I like the certain kind of turkey and the certain kind of cheese, but I am not loyal to where I buy those brands. And I do shop around a lot. And I will say, I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I will say that there are some stores in our area that you can get, like, pay a fraction of the cost for great items. And I would just say, I would encourage anybody who is facing issues with affordability for food, definitely shop around. Like that's my big push on that one.
Yeah, you can likely buy it for a cheaper price.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to, and hopefully we'll get into some of the non-discretionary things, but it goes back to some of the marketing, right? And in our culture, we want to be also conscious of what we eat.
Right.
and where you go to buy that stuff. It might come at a premium
Yep.
in order to get food that might be better to eat.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, at this point, we're going to take a break, and then we'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
Ring in the new year with a special refinance offer at Triangle Credit Union. Start 2026 with a new low auto refinance as low as 4.99% APR. Refinance your ride to free up more cash for new goals or exciting adventures. Don't wait. This special offer won't last. Visit trianglecu.org or call 603-889-2470.
Welcome back, everybody. So we're talking about affordability challenges, and we want to take this second half to talk more about what are some of the practical things that we can do and other people can do to kind of minimize the effects that it has on us. Like, what about the people, like, when they're in the thick of it, when they're in their home, when they're buying their groceries and they're like trying to squeeze out of their budget? Like, what are some things that they can do to really try to alleviate this burden that you guys think are worth considering?
I've actually done some. I've helped a couple of people with their budgets over the last few years, and again, we've already talked a lot about housing, but housing is always one of the largest sections when it comes to the budget. So
Pieces of the pie.
pieces of the pie. So I would definitely say look at your budget carefully and assess areas that can, you can take it right down to the wire, just in terms of like, okay, I've got to cut this back or whatever.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like, you can Google things to like, how do I reduce my housing costs or in my area or whatever, right? I mean, there are thousands of ways that you can make changes, but I do feel like that having a very detailed budget is one of the first steps in terms of being able to cover all of your expenses every month. And it might not be that you can cut anymore. Some people go so lean that there's no other way to cut. So what do? That means you might have to get a part-time job or some other supplement.
Sell some stuff.
Yeah,
maybe.
sell some stuff.
Yeah.
There's something supplemental to your income. So that's probably where I would start.
Yeah, I think some of this, when we're talking about, now budgeting, but then also dealing with increased prices, part of my mind always goes back to a fundamental piece of this, whether things are good, whether there's plenty or there's not, and that is the discipline behind all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, housing is one thing, right? If you're renting and they decide to raise your rent, what can you do about that?
Right.
I'm thinking in a episode we did last year when we were talking about reevaluating your life essentially and all of your stuff. So my family and I, we went and applied every single one of the options that we had about streaming services and your insurance and all of those things, and we were able to save hundreds of dollars a month by limiting that kind of stuff. And I think one of the hardest challenges I find is that there's the component that we work hard, and all of us need to be able to unplug to some degree, and you need to be able to work things into your life that are going to support your, what we may call now, mental health. But there's enjoyment in life that is okay. Those things need to be budgeted. But I also don't have time to watch 7 different streaming services. So I think if you're struggling to buy food or you're struggling to pay your rent, there is that hard decision that might have to be made to get rid of and go lean if you have to, and just discipline yourself, or shopping with frugality, and you might have to switch from designer groceries to something that's
generic.
Generic, no frills as it used to be, and
no thrills and no salt.
No thrills and no taste. And then also, because you mentioned budgeting, and I think that you do have to be intentional, particularly, and I think you need to be intentional even when you have the means.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Yeah.
That's a really great point.
Yeah, be faithful in the little things, because I have seen people who have the money, but they're bleeding it because they're just thinking that they have it. So.
Right. And it's that lifestyle creep we
Yeah.
hear so much about,
Yes.
right? So every time you get, if it's a pay increase or, you win money at the lottery or whatever, it's like, you just, oh, how can I spend this? I mean,
Right.
this is all this new money is coming in.
And if you're not paying attention to it, you're not going to see those areas where you're wasting it or losing
Right,
it, right?
right,
And
right.
that's why, I mean, I feel like we belabor the point of budgeting, but it is just so important when it comes to finances.
Right.
Like, we need to know where all our money's going
Right.
in every single facet of it.
Right.
And then that way, when it empowers us to be able to be more selective about how we want to adjust it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, going back to groceries, because that's probably one of the biggest areas for me at the moment, is I've switched more towards buying less pre-made anything and buying more ingredient stuff, right? So I'm like making my own bread. And not everyone has the time for that,
Wow.
but it's like, I just find it's a little easier because the ingredients are cheaper for me and you get more
Yeah, absolutely.
out of it.
Yeah.
It takes time. That's the trade-off. But that's one way to cut if you enjoy cooking. That's me. And then of course the other one is we used to eat out a lot, right? We used to go every Friday or every weekend we'd go somewhere, and so that was probably one of the first things we cut was dining out. And so it always comes back to food with me for some reason.
Yeah.
It's all about the food.
Well,
But-
food is probably one of our most basic needs, and I think because we need to eat, and then there's again the relational and the enjoyment component, which I think is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But that's where the budgeting is much more important, because it's almost like if you wanted to diet and you're like, that's it, I'm getting rid of everything that's not good for me, and I'm just gonna go. You're gonna
That
reach.
sounds just like me. That's what you're doing
Does
right now.
Well,
I just talk like that when I'm
just
ready
talk
to
like,
diet.
That's it. I'm tired of it. I'm gonna. But what happens is, and I've heard this from people who are in the fitness industry, that you have to be practical about it, because if you decide you're just gonna cut it all off, you might reach a point where you're like, this is terrible, and just end up binging and going further the other direction than you wanted to. So I think with budgeting, it's particularly around the food. Sorry guys, viewers, we're just all about the food. Is if you're going to do that, I think it would be appropriate to budget in something for the enjoyment piece of it.
True.
So that you're keeping yourself going. Because every time I go buy food somewhere that's pre-made, like you get that bill and you're like, oh my gosh,
Right.
I don't remember eating gold.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one of our biggest things that can get away from us is the going out to eat, and we do enjoy. I know I keep bringing them up. I probably sound obsessed, and I mean, I love my children, but
You probably are.
but I do we enjoy bringing them with us. They're fun, and next thing you know, now we're paying for not just 2 people, we're paying for 4 people, and the bill is coming out, and with everything.
I get scared
It's
of the
like,
bill for 2 people.
holy
I can't imagine
smokes.
4 people.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
like-
I keep pitching what if we all pay our own? They're like, no.
Well, but
They
as
shoot
a,
that one down fast.
but as a parent, right, I would have a hard time with that too. If I go out somewhere with my kids, I would have a hard time making them pay
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah,
Just because I know where they're at,
right.
and
Right.
I know that I have not a ton of money, but I have more than they
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think too, we're just going to go over real quick. What are some financial tools and resources available? Because we're a credit union, right? We're a financial institution, and a lot of this ties in with people's daily lives. So maybe we can just take a couple moments and just kind of give the listeners some options or some ideas on how we provide a lot of tools and resources that they can use to kind of alleviate some of this burden.
Right.
And one of the ones we talk about a lot is particularly regarding cars and housing is refinance options,
100%.
right? We've got some great refinance opportunities in case, the rates are high for you or your monthly payment's higher. There's a chance you might be able to reassess that.
Yeah. And what I would say about that too, Liz, is that if you're new to refinancing or you're not particularly sure how it works, you don't have to be an expert about the steps of refinancing. It's a simple either conversation with us at the credit union, and you can either send us an email, or you could give us a call, or you can come into any of the local branches and just say, hey, I need to reduce the cost of my, my auto loan is killing me every month. How can I reduce my payment or something like that? Like, we're here to have those conversations and, hopefully have a positive impact in the sense of reducing your cost per month on these things. So that's all I will say about that. It's like, I do feel like that a lot of people are reluctant to look at refinancing because it's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of effort, and that's simply not the case. We'll literally come alongside and do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, with your home, if you happen to own it, a refi may offer you the opportunity. If you do a refi with cash out, perhaps you have a lot of unsecured debt, and by wrapping that all up into one thing, it reduces your monthly payment to where now you have a bit of freedom. That's some of the advantages of refinancing. And I do feel like with some of this stuff, when it comes to refi, if you have radical needs, you may have to make radical decisions. It may mean trading in your car for something that's a little, I don't know, I don't want to say under, but maybe something that's a little less
affordable.
More affordable. Yeah, because then the monthly payment is, you're able to handle it more.
Yep.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, maybe evaluate your accounts. If you have the ability to put money away, then look at what the credit union has to offer. You may be able to put that money into a different account that has a better interest rate or a higher
Like
interest rate.
higher yielding savings.
Exactly.
Yep, that's
So
another
that
option.
if it's just there, then at least you're getting a bit more out of it than if you weren't.
Yeah. You might as well, right?
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. I know you mentioned already shopping around for cheaper rates. Obviously, if you're spending too much on certain things in your budget, find opportunities to change out, get something cheaper. We do this with insurance a lot, right? Insurance is one of the big ones.
And cell phones.
Cell phones.
We always encourage people to shop their cell phone coverage or carrier.
Yep.
We had an experience a couple of years ago now where we were going over budgeting 101 with one of our branch managers, and she looked at her cell phone, and I think she was paying close to, I don't know if it was almost $200 a month with her cell phone carrier, and she ended up going to a kind of like a no thrills type of carrier and got it down to less than, I think it was $35 a month or something like that. So again, and I think she might have reduced the amount of lines, but she didn't need all the lines too. So it's about evaluation and paying attention. And we talk about that all the time when we're talking about budget. You just need to pay attention.
Yeah. And speaking of budgeting, we have a lot of budgeting tools as well. We have money management within online banking too. So if you're new to budgeting, give it a shot. Try it out. Start it, load in, go in, see what and it does a good job with tracking right off the bat, so that it already preloads what it thinks you've been spending on, so you don't have to start from scratch. But it's a good tool. I utilize it a lot, and it helps me stay on track with spending. It also helps you set goals, and you can pay down, there's a goal option to pay down debt too. So if you're trying to get out of debt, it's got some cool features for you there as well.
Yeah, it's customizable too. And I think, again, with the budgeting, if you know where, I will advocate for that tool as well. And I suggest it all the time because I think it's a great, great tool. And because it's customizable, and I think one of the keys to that is knowing where your money goes. And when you get to see it, especially if you're going in and adjusting it and putting stuff in the right categories, and as you go through the weeks and days and everything, it allows you to really see where your money's going, so that you can identify where there might be problem areas and things that you need to rein in or leaks in the tire.
Right. 100%.
Well, thanks for showing up for this episode. There's so much to talk about in this topic. To anybody watching, we'd love to hear your thoughts too. I mean, we're in this like everybody else, So if you have something you find that works for you, share that with others, or with us, and we'll share it. Who knows,
Right.
But we're all here to help each other to navigate this this
100%.
challenging time, if you will. So.
Yep, and I'm at the branch, so you can look me up. If you have questions, you can come in and see me.
We're also at the branch sometimes. If you see us, do not ask us any questions. We'll be like, you do not want us.
We'll just send you over to
Kevin.
Kevin.
Don't have to do anything transactional for you.
They're in marketing. So.
Well, that wraps up this episode. If you enjoyed the show, like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you to all of our subscribers, and a special shout out thank you to our main sponsor, Triangle Credit Union. We appreciate you joining us today, and we hope you'll catch us next time on the Making Money Personal podcast.